think it's definitely a plausible theory, which, if it is true, is really scary considering the time where you're supposed to have the most juice as a coach is essentially now, right? And maybe he would argue
Yeah.
that it would be next season after he's like, and I've tried to present this theory of Brube might be a little bit gun shy, given that he had fallings out with some of his younger players in St. Louis and was dismissed pretty quickly after a Stanley Cup, which is pretty rare, honestly. And that one of his pieces of evolution was like, you know what, maybe I got to handle these guys a little bit differently than I have in years prior. And maybe I got to gain their trust a little bit more before I start really giving them the stick instead of just going, hey, I'm with you, I'm with you, I'm with you. And that's his strategy up until this point. But yeah, I think a lot of us, especially on the outside, are looking at it and saying, these guys have already had a long run of that. Like, they've already had their opportunity to run the asylum, essentially, right? They're looking for some tough discipline at this point. They need some tough love. They have to have that accountability. And I think the team acknowledged that again in the hiring of this guy and the language that they were using. And oftentimes we read too much into that, and really it's just like a PR thing that they concoct, and they go, this is the messaging that we're going to give with all of this. But if your leadership changed to give Matthews the captaincy and your head coach changed, those are the two significant things. And you went out during the offseason and preached about accountability and building that kind of culture and getting other guys involved, and that the book on Berube was going to be, hey, getting everyone involved. I think it's legitimate to look at a situation where he puts Steven Lorentz up on the first line, and then halfway through the second period, he doesn't see another shift, right? He finishes with 10 minutes after getting promoted to the top line. Go, wait, aren't you supposed to be getting other guys involved? Why are the other guys not feeling involved? McMahon has felt that for times, right? And he's seemingly, he's flourished at points this season. When was Max Domi most effective last year? It's when they lost a guy and he had to step up his role and was given more and felt like he became an outside core piece of the team. Like, we've actually seen these examples of when a star is out and they're forced to pivot into different looks, and when other guys are given more opportunity, that it has worked for the Leafs. And yet when everyone's healthy, they tend to revert back to the exact same thing that's always happened, and then familiar patterns show up. And they preach like, oh, well, be patient with us and look at the standings and look at the overall points and how could you really
patient enough.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you actually have real indicators that the splitting up of guys and the involvement of other players will work. And yet there seems to still be this reluctance to do it. And so you're right. It's tough to put your finger on why exactly that is at times.
Well, I just think they're trying to protect people. And, like, I get it. You need your stars. That's the whole theory and philosophy with which this team was built, that you will win if you have Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and Tavares in his prime. But, like, that ship has somewhat sailed. I'm not saying he's having a bad year. I'm just saying, he's not what he was when they got him. And yet here we are where the problem remains the same. So, for Berube, it's like, okay, like, let's just pretend, like, if you're the coach, would you do the power play, or would you split up Matthews and Marner and have one big guy on each line? What would you do, JD?
I would do it all. I would do, first of all.
You do both.
First of all, I think that at this point, they've sort of painted themselves into a corner with the 5-forward power play thing. That they already had, like, Tree Living spoke about the power play, and Savard just took them out for an extra session to practice ripping the puck around and being more decisive with their passes and shots and blah, 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 blah. So I don't think that you can split the power play quite yet. You're going to have to give it a bit of a runway here after you did hey, we're giving these guys this chance. You have to have it exist for more than two opportunities against I think the second best power play in the NHL. One
Agreed.
Where they would argue, well, we hit a bunch of posts in the first one and we could have had goals. And you're like, right. Okay. So remove the excuses. I know.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And I would say that they had their chances for a long time. But even still, I think that after that, you're saying, okay, 5 forwards, you've got the week essentially. Like, you're playing Sheldon Keefe's Devils team. And then who do they play Saturday night? I think the Habs. Habs aren't exactly impossible to score on. Even with Team Canada goalie Sam Montembeault. Well, that was a good choice. They get these next couple of games to prove that there's going to be something and get a goal and get the result. And if not, I would immediately split the 2 power plays. And I've said this before, I'd have one that has Matthews and Marner and the other one that has Tavares and Nylander. And then the other pieces that are around it, pick and choose. Whoever's going, basically flip them in terms of who gets what opportunity and when. Involve a guy like Max Domi more. Involve, obviously Matthew Knies is already there, but involve a guy like Bobby McMahon a little bit more. Get people feeling like they are invested and have them be doing the 1 minute thing. Because again, the accountability stuff, even yesterday, it's like, I know, again, chasing the game, but they take a timeout so that power play unit can stay out there who haven't done anything. And you're like, okay, I guess these guys are going to do it. And what did it result in? A bad Mitch Marner turnover and a couple of point shots from him where you went, all right, I guess so. I guess that's the strategy that everybody's drawing up. Fine. If it doesn't work over the next couple of games, I split them. But I would already be looking at, hey, how can we get the other guys involved? And how can it feel like if you guys are not dominating, especially like the circumstance of this, I know I'm running a little long here. I'll try to tighten this up. But the Leafs lost. They get shut out. They get booed off the ice. And then they show up and they get a 1 goal, right? They played well in the first 10 minutes, but the rest of the game, they kind of go away. And the response from the coach is like, well, doesn't every team get booed off the ice? It's like, dude, you're in first place and the fans are pissed off about 2 straight games. This isn't about winning. Like, this isn't just like, oh, we boo every time they lose. This isn't Philadelphia. This is Toronto, where when people see a problem, that's when they start to do it. When they start to see frustration with you being 25 games where you're, 25th or 20th in high danger opportunities, that's when they start to wring their hands and go, we'd like to see some goals when you've got all this star level talent and the power plays drying up. So yeah, I would immediately do the 3 lines, 3 stars, and try to ask each one of them to help drive a line. I'd put Marner with Tavares, I would put Matthews with 2 different wingers, and then I would put Nylander on a line of his own where he can drive it as well.
Agreed. And I think that you and I, based on our conversations, have both felt that way, beyond this season of like, you can always go back to Matthews and Marner. And it's a great thing to be able to just go to when you are fighting in an important game late and you need a goal. Like, I've just never understood why it's the reverse, because I think that they're like, if those players as individuals are not good enough, and I think we all think they are, to drive a line and to find chemistry with other people, then like, why would we even be paying them what they're being paid? Like, they are superstars for a reason. And I think, the fans booing and all of that getting sort of like overblown and the team trying to say, well, this happens to everyone. It's not just that you've lost 3 games in a row. It's that the things that are supposed to be your strength as a team are not working. That's why it's concerning. Nobody's getting up in arms about if Joseph Wall goes on a bad stretch or gets hurt again. Like, nobody, like, will we be upset? Yes, of course. You need goaltending. But, like, that's not the strength of the Toronto Maple Leafs coming into the season, and I don't think anyone's eyes it was supposed to be, right? The strength is supposed to be the superstars and their ability to provide offense no matter what. And they should be able to do that whether they play together or they don't. But, like, let's say they do that. They split everybody up and they've got big guys on each line, right? But if you do that and all of a sudden maybe 2 of the top 3 lines are producing and things are going well, but maybe it's Marner's line that just isn't working. And now Marner, who's having this great season, who's, working for a contract, now he's not happy. How much are we trying to avoid that situation? And if we are trying to avoid that situation, why? It's because we want to keep him. Or I'm speaking like I'm the front office. I just think there's so many things at play. And every time I think about it, it comes back to the fact that I think at the core of everything, this front office, and maybe it's Truthing, maybe it's Shanny, I don't know, but it feels like the happiness of a handful of individuals has been and continues to be the most important priority for the front office, despite the fact that we know it doesn't work. You need more than that. So while Marner can go off and have an amazing season and ask for all the money in the world next year, and Matthews can get the captaincy and he's dealt with injuries, but like he'll have his year and he'll be good. Like, everything else matters too. And I just don't think that it's been prioritized. I think we see example after example after example that it's not. And it's the reason you and Sam have your whole team, team A, team B, or whatever it is that you call it, is because of that. And if it doesn't change, this team will never win a Stanley Cup. Like, I don't believe it. So I hope that they change it. And I hope they split them up. And I hope that as a team, they can realize that by doing so, by sacrificing maybe some points for Marner and maybe some power play time for Nylander or whatever, however you want to do it, that it will make everyone else around them better. And maybe Marner needs to be pissed off. Maybe Marner needs to hear from somebody inside the team, inside the organization, not the media or the fans, that like the team is not good enough and someone needs to get moved around. And hey, Marner, if you're worth $100 million, like you say that you are, and you want to be one of the highest paid players in the league, like, then can we not lean on you to go drive another line where Matthews isn't there and make it work and get the most of, like, that should motivate him. Like, you want to be a leader, you want to be one of the best players ever or of your time, whatever. Like, that's what you have to, you should embrace that. You should want that. You should want someone coming to you and be like, I know you really like playing with Matthews, but we really need you to help us get this line going. So we're going to split you guys up. And when crap hits the fan and stuff gets hard, we'll put you and Matthews back together in those late game situations. But for now, can you help us get more out of the people around you? Because as long as it's just you and Matthews and Nylander and Tavares trying to get everything done for the entire team, it's just not going to work, and you're never going to win a cup, and you're just going to be one of the highest paid players in the league that doesn't win. So what are we doing? Like, they should be motivated by that. They should actually, I think, want that.
Well, yeah.
They should want to be split up.
Yeah.
Chris Versteeg and Francois Beauchemin to Los Angeles Kings, possible deal with Toronto Maple Leafs. In an interesting twist in the NHL trade market, new rumors are emerging about Chris Versteeg and Francois Beauchemin potentially being traded to the Los Angeles Kings. Sources indicate that the Kings, who have been one of the most active teams in recent weeks, are evaluating the possibility of bolstering their defense with Beauchemin, while Versteeg, who brings strong offensive capabilities, could be a key piece in a larger trade. This move becomes even more intriguing considering the Kings' surplus of offensive pieces available for trade, exactly what the Toronto Maple Leafs are looking for to strengthen their roster. It's speculated that with Versteeg included in the deal, the Leafs could be targeting a possible addition like Wayne Simmonds, along with a mid-range draft pick. This move makes sense given Simmonds' struggles this season, as he has yet to find his top form on the ice. To add more drama to the trade talk, there are even whispers that veteran defenseman Tomas Kaberle could be included, opening the door for a potential pursuit of Brayden Schenn. If completed, this move could have a significant impact on reshaping the Leafs lines and adding more depth to the team. Stay tuned for updates to see if these trades come to fruition and how they might shape the future of Toronto and Los Angeles this season. In an interesting twist in the NHL trade market, new rumors are emerging about Chris Versteeg and Francois Beauchemin potentially being traded to the Los Angeles Kings. Sources indicate that the Kings, who have been one of the most active teams in recent weeks, are evaluating the possibility of bolstering their defense with Beauchemin, while Versteeg, who brings strong offensive capabilities, could be a key piece in a larger trade. This move becomes even more intriguing considering the Kings' surplus of offensive pieces available for trade, exactly what the Toronto Maple Leafs are looking for to strengthen their roster. It's speculated that with Versteeg included in the deal, the Leafs could be targeting a possible addition like Wayne Simmonds, along with a mid-range draft pick. This move makes sense given Simmonds' struggles this season, as he has yet to find his top form on the ice. To add more drama to the trade talk, there are even whispers that veteran defenseman Tomas Kaberle could be included, opening the door for a potential pursuit of Brayden Schenn. If completed, this move could have a significant impact on reshaping the Leafs lines and adding more depth to the team. The Kings' situation is complex, as they are in the midst of a transitional period. Their aging roster, which includes a core group that led them to several successful playoff campaigns in the past, has seen some struggles in recent seasons. While there's a clear need for defensive help, Los Angeles may also want to improve their offensive consistency in order to make a deep playoff push. The combination of Beauchemin's defensive reliability and Versteeg's offensive upside could help the Kings balance their lineup. From the Leafs' perspective, this potential deal is about retooling for the future. The team is in a position to compete, but they also need to solidify certain areas on the ice. Adding a player like Wayne Simmonds could provide the grit and scoring touch that the team has been missing. Furthermore, acquiring a mid-range draft pick could help with future team-building efforts, as Toronto looks to remain competitive while still developing young talent. The inclusion of Kaberle in the trade package could be a strategic move for both teams. The veteran defenseman, who has been with the Leafs for a long time, has seen his role diminished in recent seasons. However, his experience and offensive abilities could be a valuable asset for Los Angeles, who could use a steady presence on the blue line to help their younger players develop. The talk surrounding Braden Shen's potential involvement in the deal adds an intriguing layer to the negotiations. Shen, a versatile forward, has shown flashes of brilliance but has been inconsistent at times. If the Leafs are able to land him, it could be a great opportunity for both the player and the team to find success together. Shen's physicality, two-way game, and leadership could be exactly what the Leafs need to bolster their forward group. While the trade market can be volatile and unpredictable, these rumors suggest that both the Kings and Leafs are preparing for significant changes. For Toronto, this could mark the beginning of a new era, with a focus on adding more experience and depth. For Los Angeles, the trade could be a chance to retool and address some of the weaknesses in their lineup, while still competing for a playoff spot this season. Of course, as with any trade rumors, it's important to remember that these discussions are fluid and can evolve quickly. There are many moving parts in these types of negotiations, and both teams will likely have to weigh their options carefully before making any final decisions. It's also possible that other teams could enter the fray, further complicating the situation. In the coming days, fans of both teams will be watching closely to see if any concrete moves are made. The NHL trade deadline is fast approaching, and teams are scrambling to position themselves for a successful postseason. Whether this rumored deal materializes or not, the possibility of a major trade between the Leafs and Kings will certainly keep fans on edge as the season continues to unfold. The trade talks involving Versteeg, Boschman, and potentially Simmons or Shen highlight the delicate balance that NHL teams must strike between immediate success and long-term growth. Both the Leafs and Kings are trying to find that balance, and this rumored deal could ultimately serve as a